Good morning, I'm Marcus Caligari. Today is March 28th, 2019, and we're coming to you from one of the major cities of the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Washington, where we're finding our true north at this year's STN convention. Seattle is a major port city rich in culture, first settled by the Duwamish tribe, and it's the ideal spot to have student journalists gather for the biggest student broadcast journalism convention in the United States.
On today's show, a homeless shelter is battling the issue of Native American alcoholism. One man is expressing his culture through his unique art, and Christopher Gomez sets out to find a Seattleite with an interesting story. CCNN Live starts now.
The Pacific Northwest is rich in Native American culture, but this vibrant community is experiencing a serious problem, and one local facility is ready to help. Alexander Somayan tells us more in his report.
When people think of Native Americans, they envision the rich cultural heritage of the people. But what most fail to realize are the daily struggles that plague these communities.
I'm a survivor of child abuse, physically, mentally, emotionally, so I really never had a childhood. I didn't even really want to call him my father or my dad. And he told me I had to make sure that everyone's drinks were full, and never empty.
And this alcohol exposure that Two Feathers describes as a central part of his culture and childhood makes up almost half of alcohol abuse in men nationwide and leads to a greater problem.
From the year of 1987 up until 2017, I was homeless. I call it the streets of nowhere, a very, very dark place.
But the Native American House was there to help.
We're trying to break that chain of alcoholism, and I try to tell them that, Native Americans, when we get that alcohol, we go crazy. They get sober, we get them back into their native culture, get their self-esteem back. About 1/3 of them go back to school and get education.
I've been going to school over a year now, and quite some time. I've challenged it and before, but I was in addiction at that time. But this time, we'll be walking with the rest of the college graduates.
And success stories like these are leading to improvements in the overall Seattle community, and residents are taking notice.
I mean, I still see homeless people in the street. I feel like it's gotten a lot better than it was before. And I lived in Seattle about 20 years. And honestly, I don't think that I've noticed a lot of Native Americans anymore. It's more like a mix of other people.
With help from centers like the Native American House, these indigenous people can take the first step on the road to a healthy lifestyle. For CCNN Live, I'm Alexander Somayan reporting.
Still to come on CCNN Live, using some of the most prominent journalists of our time as inspiration, Christopher Gomez is out to prove that there's truly a unique story behind each individual. This and more after a quick break.
Native Americans did their part in preserving this land, and by decreasing the use of pollutants like plastic straws, you're one step closer in doing so. Using resourceful items like cloth bags instead of paper for groceries is one way to keep the states green and clean. Whether it's paper, plastic, or glass, recycling is the key to our future. Just throw your plastics or glass into the nearest blue bin and you're good to go. Do your part, preserve our land, and recycle.
Different types of art and culture are scattered all throughout Seattle, and one Native American resident displays his urban art using the walls of the city. Benjamin Kears tells us more about this artist.
From before the United States was founded, Native Americans have held an integral and often marginalized role in the land of the free and the home of the brave. And one Seattleite muralist is working to show the indigenous culture and history in its true colors.
The murals behind me, I would say I painted over the course of 4 weeks, and that was painting maybe 6 to 8 hours a day. I could paint a really large picture within a few hours.
However, in 2014, one of Morrison's artworks was vandalized, attempting to eliminate Native American culture.
I do think that it is terrible that they would deface not only something that took so much time, but something that took so much emotional energy. I'm very glad that it was redone and that now we get to enjoy it every day.
At that moment, when ignorance was presented to me, it was a matter of me being patient and letting that ignorance go. I never really resorted to anger.
And it's reactions like these that help keep Morris focused on using his art to educate Seattle residents.
They preserve the culture because the Native American people are still living here in Seattle and across the country, and it's been a safe place and a place that people can come celebrate life and, you know, celebrate the arts.
As Morrison continues to spread his passion throughout Seattle, he hopes to impact those who see it and those represented by it. For CCNN Live, I'm Benjamin Kier reporting.
As we enjoy the sights and sounds of Seattle, it's also fitting that we get to know its people too. Christopher Gomez tells us about one Seattleite in this next segment.
As a student journalist, I've always admired Steve Hartman and Les Rose and their ability to tell a story no matter where they go. We're going to recreate one of their acclaimed segments for a news magazine. As we explore the topic of Native American culture, we're going to stand at the storefront of Steinbrook Native Gallery. Today we're out to prove that truly everyone has a story. Hi, could we do a story on you?
No. Oh no, sorry, I don't have the time.
Okay.
I'll have a couple hours.
All right, that's fine. As you can see, we got turned down often, but finally, we got a yes. Do you mind if we do a story on you?
On me?
Yeah, so we're basically just trying to tell a random person's story. Are you okay with that?
I don't know, I guess. Okay.
Why did you let us interview you today?
Well, I was at an appointment with my daughter. It was right across the street.
Wilma Gonzalez is a single mother living in Seattle who has decided to take a day off to spend time with her daughter Tiffany.
Well, I decided to spend time with her because she was going to come back to school, but it took longer than expected, and I just decided to spend the day with her.
And at the Steinbrook Gallery, Wilma and her daughter could bond over their shared love of art.
Native American art is so special, and while I was coming down the hill, I saw this beautiful gallery. I just pointed out to my daughter, and she's like, oh, let's just get in.
Something that me and my mom bond over is, well, we both like art, so we really enjoy like looking at like galleries or like museums.
It's all over the city, and I want to learn more.
And as a single mother with a busy schedule, Wilma knows that spending time with her growing teenager has to be her #1 priority.
My daughter, I feel she's growing up so fast. I don't have all the time available every day to be with my kids. It's just minutes here and there.
Thanks for watching. Until we meet again in Washington, D.C., remember, everyone has a story. For CCNN Live, I'm Christopher Gomez reporting.
That does it for today's show. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to keep up with everything happening at STN 2019. And from all of us here at CCNN Live, have a great convention.